The way that West Ham are conducting our business this summer, maybe Aaron Wan-Bissaka aside slightly, just because of how that's sort of dragging on a little bit, it feels like West Ham are just on the front foot. Do you know what I mean? We seem to be getting stuff done quickly. We're not hanging about, and we're being really smart with how we're doing things. All you got to look at is like the acquisitions that we've been making recently, like the last few days. The Somerville signing, one that we've clearly been planning for quite some time and have just gone sort of like in a sort of stealth mode and got it done. You look at the Rodriguez signing. That was one that sort of just came out of nowhere and bang, he's on a plane. It's all been sorted, and it's Fulkrog exactly the same. Really quick. We're getting on about things, and I love that. It's so refreshing to see West Ham have this approach where we're showing a real knack of understanding how the market works. We're really sort of seeming to understand how to get business done properly, and it's going to favour us as well. We're quite ruthless. We're quite aggressive, I feel, with how we're bidding. We're being quite strong. And I feel like we're doing that as well with player sales. I feel like, if you look back to how we dealt with Finn Downs, we didn't hang around there. We got it sorted. It was away. Then we said, right, no, we're going to get the deal done. Bang, crash, bang. Well, he was on the plane, and the next thing you know, he's in a Southampton shirt. We didn't hang around and dilly dally, and I feel like we're doing that with Kurt Zouma as well. I mean, that's only just come about now that the club had decided that his time was up. I mean, we talked about this. If you go back to a video we did, I think it was after the Wolves game when I did the review. I think I titled it "Zouma was done, finished," and I've got to be honest, there was no one disagreed. Like, I was expecting a little bit of backlash. I was expecting a few people to comment and say, "No, how dare you?" And by the way, I didn't want to mean it horribly to Kurt Zouma. He's been a great servant for West Ham, a really top player. But you can clearly see he's done. His injuries have just really caught up with him now. His knees are in a terrible state. But I like the fact that you've now got Lopetegui that's come into the club. Straight away, he's acknowledged that. He can see it from a mile away. Yep, look, this is no good. We're going to get it sorted, and he has to go. We're going to replace him. So much so that the update is from EXWHUEMPLOYEE employee that not only are we looking to replace Kurt Zouma, they're looking to bring in 2 more defenders now. He's realising the situation again. This is not good enough. We can't go into the season with this defence. I mean, how refreshing is that? How refreshing is that as a West Ham fan? Rather than having to sort of witness a problem and then just keep seeing the same problem, over and over again, and nothing really being done, and it kind of effectively being brushed under the carpet like it's going to be sorted. It's going to resolve itself. Lopetegui's got no sort of loyalties to any of these players. He's being ruthless, and that's what we want to see. Him and Steiten are just looking at the situation, going, "This needs sorting." And the Kurt Zouma sale is already ramping. It's already picking up. I mean, how quickly is that we've gone from, West Ham are now considering selling Kurt Zouma to, no, he's now having talks. And in fact, we've now got an update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE employee. We just put on the website just before I recorded this, saying that basically the player is now in advanced talks. And by the way, it's not a Saudi club. We did get that wrong. That was myself. We got it. Said it was a Saudi club interested. There are Saudi clubs. I think there are 2 Saudi clubs that are interested, but it's a club from Dubai that are now showing the more concrete interest and offering to Kurt Zouma. As far as we understand it, we've got an update now from X. I'm just sort of going to run through this now. That's just basically what this video is. So the Kurt Zouma situation, as I say, is moving really quickly. It looks to be moving very rather close now. The player's now preparing to meet the representative of the club and to finalise his move. It's going to happen. Kurt Zouma is going to leave. It's quite clear. And it's a great move for him, let's be honest. I mean, if you're in his situation, going out to a player in a country where he's going to make a bundle of money, he'll probably be out there for a year, maybe 2, before he wraps up. I mean, he looks like he's close to retirement, doesn't he, with his knees now? You can't blame the guy. And I think it's a good move all around for everybody. He's done well at West Ham. It's been a good move for him, being club captain and lifting a trophy. More could you ask, So I'm really actually pleased for him. It feels like this is the perfect time now to sort of say thanks very much and move on. So I think that's going to be concluded quickly. West Ham are not hanging around at all. West Ham, in fact, as I say, are looking at 2 defenders now to bring in. We've gone through a few of them already. I'm not going to go for every single name. But I want to talk about Matt Hummels is one that keeps getting banded around. West Ham are going to go for that deal, as far as we understand it. West Ham aren't interested in that move at the moment, as far as we get it. We feel that if apparently what we understand, Lopetegui is quite keen. Copenhagen would say, no, I think he'd be a good fit. I feel that we understand that Steiten's not so much. He feels that we can get someone that's going to be better suited, or more of a longevity. Because bearing in mind he's 35, I don't think it's going to send out the right message. The one that's really interesting. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about two players I want to talk about actually. First one is Todibo. Jean-Claire Todibo. We understand. I mean, we've been interested in this player for quite some time. We've been really, again, when I was talking about West Ham being ruthless, mega ruthless with him. I mean, the fact is, he's at Nice. He's got his dream move going to Juventus. That's where he wanted to go. I think Juventus were close, was it 20, 25 million pound kind of deal? They were sort of shaping up, get it done. West Ham have come along and gone, there you go, 35 million, we'll have him. It's just completely knocked it all over the place. Juventus understandably fuming. Players probably a bit annoyed as well. But West Ham are just going about, no, we're not doing anything wrong. We want to get the player. This is who we want. We're going to bid for him. By the way, I want to make it really clear. I think some people were suggesting that Todibo doesn't want to come to West Ham. He's not interested. He's not interested in West Ham at all. That's not what, as we understand it. I think what we believe it to be is that he just prefers to move to Juventus. That was his preferred move. That's where he'd been talking to them. That's where he wanted to go. Obviously, we might have more money at the moment than Juventus. We might be in a situation where we've got a little bit more clout about us. But at the same time, they're a huge, monster of a club. You can't blame him. And he's got more opportunity, obviously, to winning trophies, etc., etc. That's where he wants to go. No problem with that at all. Got absolutely no problem with that. But it's not to say that he wouldn't want to come to West Ham. That's just his preferred choice. So he's just sort of hanging around now, waiting to see what occurs here. It's quite clear and obvious that Juventus don't have the money. They just do not have the money at the moment. They might be able to cough it up eventually, but we understand that the Juventus offered a loan obligation to buy. And said, we'll raise the funds then. And Nice said, no, money now. We want it up front. West Ham have offered it. Why aren't you doing it? I don't think that deal's gone yet. It really hasn't gone. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that one pans out. So Todibo's certainly an option. I can't see that's not going to, that one's done. I still, in my gut, feel that he probably will end up at Juventus. I just get that feeling that they will eventually cough up the money. They'll strike some sort of deal with Nice. But it's not over yet, though. And it could well end up being a West Ham player. And the other one that's really interesting is Chabola of Chelsea, Chalobah, who we've been interested in now for a couple of years, haven't we? We've been linked with him for quite some time. It's ramping up this evening, actually, the talk of this player. It does seem now that Chelsea are very open to selling the player. We're also, again, keen. I don't know exactly on the details whether it's going to be a loan option. We have an option to buy. I think we possibly will look to do that, but I think we understand that Chelsea would rather sell. So that's one to certainly keep an eye on when it comes to the defenders at the moment. But we are after quite a few. Another, actually, I do want to touch on is Fabrizio Bruno. Again, I did a video right at the beginning of the window. Done deal, Bruno's coming to West Ham. It was done, Fabrizio Romano even done the here we go. I've never known him to do that and then the deal not happen. But as we understand it, the player basically, and he's got a young baby on the way, and just said, look, it needs to be a better financial package for me to come over to uproot my whole family at this stage of my life. And that's why it kind of got put on pause. So it looks like we could be revisiting that as well. So that I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that one brought up a fair bit more. So that's on the sort of centre-back situation. The last bit I want to talk about is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It's really this is the one that is becoming a bit frustrating. And I don't know what, it's just dealing with Man United, isn't it? It's dealing with that club. It always just seems like this just long-winded, painful situation that we have to just go through every time we ever want to try and get a player out of that club. But there is confidence. The update from EXWHUEMPLOYEE actually is really pretty solid that it's going to sound like it's quite confident. The club are going to continue to speak to Manchester United about concluding the deal for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Both clubs are very keen now to get this done, and hopefully they're going to find a mutually agreeable fee. West Ham want to wrap this up quickly, as also reported earlier that Inter Milan are now also interested in the player again. And Manchester United also want to sign Missouri, as we know, of a Moroccan defender, who we, of course, put a bid in, got it accepted, and this kind of triggered the domino effect that we were going to get Wan-Bissaka. I think we're going to get Wan-Bissaka. I do think that's going to be the case. I kind of get why he's doing what he's doing as well. I think there's a bit of a consensus going around, like, oh, he's being greedy. What, and we always have that kind of notion, don't we? About, well, footballers earn all this money, why do they need more money? What do they need? I know, we're normal people, aren't we? At the end of the day, the idea of sort of 100 grand a week, it just sounds ridiculous. And then they've got all these millions in the bank and then they want more money. You totally understand it. But at the same time, they're human beings. And And at the end of the day, he signed a contract with Manchester United. Next year, his contract expires and he gets a loyalty bonus of £3 million. Not only does he get a loyalty bonus of £3 million, he's then a free agent. He can then go to another club and say, I'll tell you what, pay me, like, say, £5 million and I'll join you. It's £8 million. £8 million in your bank. You know what I mean? It's, all right, after tax. But you know what I'm saying. Regardless of whether you've got money or not, that's you're not going to just go, leave it. That's massive money for him and his family and for generations and stuff. So you totally understand it. So basically, the situation is Manchester United are saying to the player, right, well, we know you've got a year to go, but we want to let you go a year earlier. We want to sell you to West Ham. So bear in mind, he's already now kind of thinking, well, if I go to West Ham, I'll lose my signing on bonus. I'll lose about £5 million. Let's say, could be more, could be 10 million. He's going to lose that because he's now going to move to another club during, as a transfer to West Ham. So that goes out the window. So effectively, he's saying, and effectively, he's agreeing to that. He's saying, okay, I'll move away from that. I'll accept that I'm not going to get a signing on fee that I was going to get if I was a free agent. And I will go to West Ham. In fact, he's actually agreed personal terms, which we understand to be about 90 grand a week, which is a drop in his salary. So he's doing the right things in terms of making the right noises to come into West Ham. But what he's also saying to Manchester United is going, well, hang on a minute, though. You were going to pay me £3 million next year. If you're forcing me out of my contract, I want me £3 million. And this is where the issue is. And Manchester United appear to be being quite difficult over that. I don't know the exact how the negotiations have gone, but as far as we understand it, Manchester United effectively lowered their demands to around £10 million for the player. Then there was the talk of the £3 million loyalty bonus. Again, it's not to be sniffed at, is it? £3 million. If this was your job, if you're working, you're entitled to £100 grand loyalty bonus, and they said, well, we're going to let you go a year earlier. You're not going to go, oh, I'll leave that £100 grand. Then you're just not going to do it, are you? You're going to fight for it. So I can understand his position. But what Manchester United appear to have done is not only have they said to West Ham, well, we want you to cover the loyalty bonus, I think West Ham were open to doing, i.e. £10 million plus the free. We'll pay it then. We'll pay 30 million, have the player. Then Man United have moved the goalpost. They've then upped the price, I think 15 now, plus the free. And I think it might be even gone up even further. So I think they're talking, I think as we understand it, Manchester United are looking for around about 20, 21 million pound now as a total package. The guy's a free agent in a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like every time we ever go into to do deals with Manchester United, it's a bloody nightmare. So really, really annoying. That is dragging on, but I've just got this feeling he's going to be our player. I do. I've got this confidence about West Ham at the moment, which I've never had before when it comes to transfers. Just the way we're conducting ourselves is just so refreshing. It's so professional. It's ruthless. It's aggressive, and I love it. Do you know what I mean? I just love it. I like the fact we're the ones doing the bullying. We're the ones going, no, we're having him. No, we're doing that. I like the fact and as well with West Ham, you get the feeling that if Wan-Bissaka doesn't happen, let's just say for argument's sake, we go to Man United. No, it ain't happening. We'll go and get another right back. Do you know what I mean? We'll go back to Southampton. We'll get the Walker-Peters deal done. We'll have other plans sorted out. You just get that confidence that West Ham are on the front foot, and yeah, I'm really pleased. So I actually think that will happen. I do think we'll get Wan-Bissaka. It feels like it's just one that's starting to drag, and as I say, it doesn't surprise me that it's Manchester United. So sort of in a nutshell, then to sort of summarise, then it looks like Kurt Zouma's on his way, which, as I say, I think is a good move all round for all parties, for the player especially as well. It gets him that move to get that extra bit of money last part of his career, last year or two, and it just frees us up. We know we need to get this sorted out. I mean, Kurt Zouma's in such a terrible state of his knees, so yeah, it's really good. And as I say, we're after quite a few defenders, being linked with a lot. As I say, Chalobah of Chelsea seems to be the one I think to keep a bit of an eye on there. We've been linked with him for a while. We know Chelsea want to get rid of him. We've also done dealings with Chelsea that have been pretty decent over the years, of course. Kurt Zouma being one. I think, if memory serves correctly, I think that's the last time we dealt with Chelsea, wasn't it? The Zouma deal. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it might have been. So it's interesting, and I think as well, West Ham are going to look at the Bruno transfer again. We're possibly going to revisit that. West Ham are going to really try and build a strong squad ahead of the season. We're not mucking about, and it's so refreshing. It's an interesting one. And also talked about the video yesterday, talked on Jared Bowen being named West Ham captain possibly. It still hasn't obviously been confirmed yet, but certainly one really got to keep an eye on for this friendly at the weekend with Celta Vigo. Because as far as we understand it, whoever leads the team out is going to effectively be named as captain. So if it's Bowen, then I think that's a sort of surefire bet. But yeah, interesting. It's very, very interesting. It's going to be a busy few days, and let's wait and see how it pans out. But let's wait and see. Go on your ones.